Hey, what up? It's your girl Pika. I'm out here in Singapore and it is middle of the night as usual. It's pushing 3 o'clock, y'all. And this episode is for the 22nd. It's episode 152. Yeah, every time I say that, I can't it's hard to fathom that I've come this far, that I've done this every night for 152 nights. It's pretty damn awesome, I think. I'm proud of myself. Um, but yeah, this post was meant for Friday night. And I find myself thinking a lot about love recently, just as a concept, not like romantic love or familial love or whatever it is, just love in general. So just going through my day, I feel like I think about it a lot, like all day long. Today was the day of baby girl's Christmas party, so I dropped off a whole container of spaghetti bolognese that I made from scratch yesterday. I mean, sorry, the day before. And it looks like it was a hit at the party. Everyone was quite pleased. I had to be very careful, like I mentioned. So many different cultures in Singapore means that many different religions, many different dietary restrictions. Um, the the Muslim culture does not eat pork. The Hindu culture does not eat beef. Um, so I had to just be very careful. So what I did was I made a vegan bolognese. It was just vegetables in there, and I'm just glad that the kids ate it because kids are real picky about food anyway, right? So that worked out pretty well for me, I think. What else? Went to work. Ended up at Eastgate first. Had like a breakfast meeting, and went over the presentation a couple times. Headed out to Sim Lim Square after that to pick up work over at the main office. Took lunch orders, took care of the kids, made sure everybody got home safe, and then locked up and came home, picked up baby girl, came right back to the house. We had dinner, watched a movie. We did the Santa Claus 2 tonight for our 25 Days of Christmas, and, went to bed early. She herself said, I need to go to bed early because, Mommy, you said that we want to wake up early and practice to see how long it takes to get to school from the time we leave the house to how long it takes to get to school, so that we can really make sure we leave by a certain time once school starts in a week or so and we're not late. So it was basically the gist of the day. But I find that everything I do, I'm trying to make sure that love is at the heart of what it is that I do. So from the time I get up to just simple things like getting her ready for school, making sure that she has everything in her backpack for the day, getting to school, taking care of the students there, making sure my colleagues have everything they need. So as a center manager, I need to make sure that the center is clean, that the supplies are right where they need to be for everyone who needs, you know, anything from worksheets to pencils, calculators, a clear trash line. I mean, simple things like that. Everything you do, you should do with love as the main focus, correct? You're trying to serve other people. You're trying to make sure that, that you leave the world a little bit better than when you found it. But lately, I'm trying to focus on making sure love is at the heart of my actions as well, like my reactions, my actions to people in general, to situations in general. And what I'm finding is my reactions I need to think about twice because, I mean, I'm human, right? The first thing whatever happens is like it's a knee-jerk reaction to whatever's going on, and then you kind of think about it a little bit, intellectualize it a little bit, and then you work on how to adjust your reaction. I'm not at that point where my reaction is flawless, that it still has love at the heart, but I'm working on it because I realize it governs a lot of what I do. So when I see something that upsets me, I realize that it upsets me for a reason, and I need to intellectualize it. Basically, like think about it from a logical standpoint. Why is it upsetting me? What am I gaining by, showing the world that I'm upset? There are a great many people out there who take a lot of pleasure in telling the world how upset they are, how hurt they are, how whatever it is. And it's for all the smallest thing. I'm not talking about people who are courageous enough to tell their story because it needs to be told, because they need people to understand that whatever it is that's going on, they're not the only one, because they've been through it as well, and that this kind of behavior, whatever that, abusive behavior that you came through, whatever difficult hardship that you survived, those things are not normal. That you are allowed to want for more, you're allowed to expect more out of life. What I'm talking about is the people who are petty, the people who are going to go off and complain about things as small as I don't even, I'm drawing a blank right now. Small things such as someone cut them in line, someone who bumped them by accident because the train came to like a halt at like a very sudden moment. Just little things like that, they complain because it feels good to them to complain. What I'm trying to do in my own life, because I can't control anybody else. I need to change myself first. I need to change the way I see myself first, the way I understand what it is I'm doing, why I'm doing it. So it starts with me, right? So what I'm trying to do is look at how I respond to certain situations. If I find that someone posts something that offends me, I need to look at why it is that it offends me, and then realize that either responding back is not going to get the reaction I hoped for, it's actually going to add fuel to the fire, and then I need to make sure that when I do come into contact with that person, if it's like in a in-person situation, if I come into contact with that person, how am I treating them? Is it with love, or is it because they hurt me that I'm going to hurt them back? That's not coming from a place of love, if that makes sense. That's coming from a place of pain, from a place of pride, where I'm putting myself above you, that my experience is better than yours, that my status in life is better than yours, and that's not going to get the kind of reaction that I would want in the first place. That's not the kind of person I want to be. So for me, it's important to really check myself and make sure that whatever it is I'm doing, I'm coming from a place of love. As I'm doing energy work, as I'm learning more about energy and my vibration in general, my vibe, I don't even know how people perceive me, how people encounter me, how people experience me. I want that experience to be one of love. I want them to see me as someone who promotes love, who deals in love, who wants to change the world with love. I don't want a position of power. I don't want something where people are telling me, I'm in charge. I actually don't want that. I would love to lead. I don't mind. But what I want more than anything else is for me to be a good example. And then if you take your cue from me, then I've done a good job. Does that make sense? So to make sure that all of my actions, my reactions, my interactions come from a place of love is becoming more and more important as I go on the spiritual journey, as I go on trying to expand my horizons, increase my awareness, and grow who I am as a person. I have been in situations where I am hurt, and I understand that the person who hurt me is also hurting, but my hurt, because I've been silent for so long, I feel like I should flaunt or showcase because I feel like it would teach someone a lesson. I've been in that place many, 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 many times. And unfortunately, more often than not, when I do that, that hurt person that hurt me, I tend to hurt some more. It's like I'm perpetuating the cycle. I am not breaking that pattern of I'm hurt, so I'm going to hurt you. I'm actually adding to it. So in that regard, I am not helping the situation, I'm hurting. I'm not part of the solution, I'm part of the problem. I've seen many instances in my own life where someone did something to me as a child, and because I've seen it happen so many times, when I grew up and I saw that same situation, I responded the same way the other person responded to me. And in that same vein, I am perpetuating the cycle. I am creating a pattern instead of breaking a pattern. And right now, with my level of understanding, I am learning to make sure that I recognize the pattern and then break it as best I can. I'm still human. I'm still going to screw up. I'm still going to trip over, my emotions, my gut reactions, my pride, my ego. It's still there. I'm not saying it's gone, but I am learning to recognize it a little bit more before I open my mouth, before I do something about it. I've had situations where someone will come to me and they're on a rant. They are super upset about something small. And yes, in my eyes, it's small. To them, it's very, very big. But in the grand scheme of things, they're unable to put things in perspective. They're still upset about the situation. They're upset that people are not like them. Which, okay, yeah, that's understandable, but people aren't meant to be like you. Everyone has their own existence, their own experience, their own understanding of the world around them, and it's based on nurture and nature, and you can't ever expect for someone to be like you. But when these people come to me and they're on a rampage, they're like going on and on and on and on and on about one situation and how, oh my God, I can't believe they would do this, and don't they realize that this is hurtful, and don't they think that this kind of energy is like damaging, not realizing that this rampage of theirs is adding to that same cycle. So the best I can do as a confidant, a counselor, a coach, a mentor, the adult in the situation, the elder in the situation, whatever the case may be, the best thing I can do is try not to get swept up in that big wave of emotion that they're building, and then also to not add to the fire, not respond in such a manner that will add heat to whatever it is that's going on, to encourage them to continue complaining and spewing all this negativity. So the best thing I can do in those situations is just listen and acknowledge that I hear what they're saying and try not to add to that. It's kind of difficult because what you're trying to do is let them run out of steam, basically. I want them to run out of all that negative energy so they can get to that positive thing. If you've noticed, you can't stay mad for long. It's not possible. We are too distracted as human beings. We can get caught up in the moment, and next thing is almost like squirrel. You saw something and you've been sidetracked already. So what I do sometimes when I can't stop it, by using a word or a phrase or whatever, or I'm not at that level, that comfort level with that person that's on a rampage, to be able to stop them mid-sentence, what I will do is let them run out of steam. And once they run out of steam, if they're in a place to listen, I will present them several questions or several scenarios where they can maybe try and put that rampage into perspective. But even then, I'm trying to come from a place of love. I love you. I understand you're going through something. I understand you're hurting about something. But I also need you to understand, was it worth all of that energy to be drained from you when you're going on a rampage about something negative? I want you to rethink, if it's worth it to focus on that one thing that went wrong versus the 1,000 things that you have to be grateful for. You all know me. I've been working on a grateful project lately. I've been counting down the days to the end of the year. I've been, just trying to put information out there from my perspective, from my experience, to show you that I am evolving, that I am learning, and these are the things that are suddenly important to me. That's also part of this, entrepreneurial journey. You tend to learn more things about yourself, what you will and won't put up with, the kinds of people you gravitate towards, the kinds of people that are drawn to you, and why. The why part has been quite an eye-opener. They say that you attract who you are. And for me to attract people that rampage sometimes, it means that I myself am rampaging sometimes, that I myself am often on a tangent and focus on the things that I don't have. And that's not good. As I learn more about the power of manifesting, the law of attraction, your vibration and your vibrational alignment and the vortex, I don't still quite understand some of those things, those concepts, those terms, but I am learning. And as I learn, I feel the need to share, because the best way to really make sure you understand something is to teach. I'm not perfect. I do have moments of clarity. They do happen in the middle of the night. And while I have those moments of clarity, I feel the need to share. I feel the need to create content that explains my frame of mind as I understand it. from where I was to what I've learned to where I am now and how I feel about what I've learned. So I'm hoping this made sense. I'm hoping it gave you some value. Yes, it was a little more spiritual based than it was business, but as with all things, everything is connected. And I feel like the more spiritual I become, the more aligned I become, the less, and I'm not going to say patience, but the less I will allow for negative things in my space, the more adept I am at helping people to come out of that space because I've done it myself, and the more gentle I find that I am with people in general, the more kind and compassionate I am. Everyone is going through something. You don't know what that person is dealing with outside of that small situation they're complaining about. They may be dealing with a loved one who's going through cancer. They may be going through cancer themselves. They may be exhausted. They may be handling the whole world by themselves, or so they feel like, and so they're irritated very easily. They're knocked off kilter fairly easily, fairly quickly. So it's not my place to judge who you are or what you are in that one moment. It's almost like judging your whole life based on one picture. I don't want to be that person. I do want to make sure that that I allow for you to be you when you're in my space. I don't want you to filter yourself when you're around me. I don't want you to feel like there are only certain aspects of you that you can show me because I will judge you. That's not who I am. That's not who I ever was. I want you to be you. Full on you. Now, if there's something you're doing that I feel is harmful to you, I will point it out, but still I will not judge. That's not my place. Like I mentioned, I hope this brought value to you. I hope it gave you another angle to see the world from. I hope it wasn't, super cheesy and hippie-like or whatever. And actually, I don't care, but I'm hoping that it caught your attention. I'm hoping that part of this somewhere got you to realize that somewhere along the line you're probably doing the same things I am. I want you to focus more on what your purpose is, what you were here to do. How are you supposed to contribute contribute to humanity, to the consciousness in total. It's important. It's important because it filters through everything. It's customer service, it's leadership, it's the way you parent, it's the way you nurture friendships, it's the way you become a partner or collaborator with someone else. If you can't love them on some level as a human being, as another soul, a soul that recognizes another soul, if you can't come from a place of love, you're in for a difficult ride. I feel like you will face unnecessary judgments from other people. You face unnecessary difficulty and hardship. You will lose the lesson in the situation in the most part because you'll focus on the emotion, the reaction. People and situations are powerless without your reaction to them. That is why some people say there is no good or bad. There only is action and reaction and, just the plain truth of a situation. This is, whether it's good or it's bad, is up to you and your opinion of it, but it just is. I stole something. Is that good or is that bad? It depends on how you feel about the act of stealing. If you come from a place where you don't have enough and stealing is the only way to make sure your family survives, stealing isn't really considered a bad thing, is it? When you're stealing because you like the idea of almost being caught, you like the feeling of getting something for nothing, in some people's eyes that would be a bad thing, correct? It all depends on your opinion. Really. Everyone has an opinion. I was talking to someone the other day and they felt that, supporting a particular public figure based on one thing that public figure said makes this person who's a supporter a bad person. No, your entire being is aligned with that person. There's some aspect of them that you agree with. That's it. That doesn't make you a bad person. That doesn't make you that person. It just makes you a supporter. Does that make sense? Try to make sure you rethink everything. Try to make sure you're looking at your life and your reactions and your relationships as, okay, whatever I'm doing to this person or in this situation, is love at the heart of it? Am I doing something for personal gain? Am I trying to make the world a better place? Am I trying to punish someone because they hurt me? Don't continue the cycle. Don't add to the problem. Try and find a solution. Try and be the solution. Try to shine light. People don't appreciate light unless they've been through the dark. And I'm telling you, I see very well in the dark. I'm learning more and more about the light. Because now I'm learning that I don't have to be in the dark. I just have to change my lens. All right, I'm going to call it a night. I hope this was as helpful to you to hear it as it was for me to get it off my chest. I love you all, and I will catch you again tomorrow. Y'all take care.